What is up, YouTube? Kato here, and today we're playing some cards. Without further ado, let's hit the felt. Welcome to the special edition of this vlog. This is the final day of the first month of uploads for this channel, and it has been a wild ride. Thank you so much for your support. We're starting off with Ace Queen in middle position. We have a few limpers ahead of us, and we decided to bump it up to $16. This is going to bring the pot to $26, and it folds around to the small blind who makes the call. The big blind also calls, and the rest fold out, so we're going 3 ways to a flop with $54 in the pot. The dealer puts out 10 of diamonds, jack of hearts, 2 of diamonds. This gives us the nut flush draw and a gut shot straight draw. We still have 2 overs. The big blind donk bets into me $15, and I'm not going to settle for this. I raised it up to $40. I want to get money in this pot. I have a fantastic hand with great chances of improvement. I'm likely already ahead right now. He sprinkles the chips into the pot like Martha Stewart topping a cupcake, and the dealer puts out the turn, the queen of spades. A beautiful sight to see. This improves our hand significantly. Now we have top pair. We still have all the draws we had on the flop, and I'm going to be betting small to target all of his holdings a pair or better. I want him to stay in. Any draws I likely beat, any pairs I likely beat, and he makes the call. $234 going to the river, which is the 2 of spades. This card doesn't seem to change much. It doesn't bring in any draws, and now if he has 10 jack, we win. We get a little shock when he rips in about $250, more than twice as much as we have behind us, and when he puts it in the pot, he reveals another large stack behind the chips. He has been dominating, decimating this table. If you look at the other chip stacks, they're like small armies that have been pounded around by this massive kingdom, and so I think he might be trying to pull my leg here. I make the call, and he shows me the bad news. He does have a deuce of hearts, and he has the 8 of hearts. How he got to the river, I don't know, but I'm going to blame it on myself. Alright guys, that ace queen of diamonds hands was the very first hand I played, and I got busted for all of my chips. I'm rebuying. I did not show up to play one hand. I'm coming back for those chips with a vengeance. I'm rushing away the tilt, the variance. I'm just thinking it would have been great if that 2 didn't come. Let's refocus, let's clear our mind, let's understand that we're playing a savage game, and let's get back out there, cool-headed, level-headed, and play our best poker, and walk away with the win. Let's do it. I told you this was a special episode, and special it is. We are buying in, for the first time, the max buy-in, $300 at the 1-3 game. Let's get after it. The first hand we pick up is ace of hearts, jack of clubs in the big blind. The pot is at $4 until the middle position player bets to 15. It folds around to the button who makes the call, and I am also going to make the call. I definitely could have 3-bet here. It is an ace-jack offsuit combination, which would lend me more towards just making the call, but I still think that 3-bet is probably the best option in this situation. Maybe just 3-bet or fold from the big blind. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about it. The dealer puts out the flop, and it's not the flop we wanted to see. It's the 8 of hearts, the 8 of clubs, and the 6 of hearts. We miss completely. We do have the backdoor nut flush draw, but it's weakened significantly by the full house potential by the 2 8s on the board. My opponent continues betting $30 into the pot. I just don't believe him. I'm a little tilted, probably, even if I don't feel like it, and I decided to make the call, frankly, for no good reason. I'm out of position with nothing, getting myself into trouble. We're going to the turn, $106 in the pot, and the dealer puts out the deuce of diamonds. Does not improve us at all. And I decided to check to my opponent again. I'm going to get sneaky here, and it's not the right kind of sneaky. My opponent bets out for $40, and I decided to put in the min raise, thinking that I can maybe push him off a hand if he doesn't have an 8, a 6, or an overpair. The min raise is just so weak into such a large pot that he has odds to call, and he does. We're going to the river. It is the 9 of spades. I don't improve. I'm holding ace high, and I'm just going to give this one up. I checked my opponent, hoping to at least get to showdown. But that's not what happens at all. He decides to bet one more time, firing a 3rd bullet, and I'm just forced to fold away. I think I potentially still have the best hand, but I just am not able to make this call, and the line that I took with the raise and the check on the river was not an aggressive one at all. If I'm putting it in a bluff like that, I need to be betting more on the turn and being able to fire on the river. I give it up though, and we're moving on to the next hand. The next hand we pick up is pocket nines in the cutoff. There's 2 limpers ahead of me, and when the player to my right decides to limp in as well, I put in a very small raise to $13. I probably should have sized up more here, especially since I'm holding a middle pocket pair, looking to get heads up in position, but we have the under the gun player make the call, and then the player who limped into my right decides to go all in. Luckily, he doesn't have any more chips. He's got only $32 total. I decide to put in a big raise to isolate, get this pot heads up and a 5-card run out. I flip up my 9s, he flips up Queen Jack offsuit. The board comes out really favorable for us with a 9 on the flop, and we're going to scoop this one. I have $200 left of my second buy-in for $300, and we fold away a few more hands until I get a little tricky. I'm probably a little frustrated. I have ace of spades, 4 of diamonds in the small blind. There's been a raise to $10, 2 callers, and I'm going to 3-bet to $30. It's way too small, but like I said, I can't deny that I'm probably, even if I don't feel like I am, slightly tilted. We have 2 callers. We're going to the flop 3 ways, $101 in the pot, and the dealer puts out the ace of hearts, queen of diamonds, and 7 of clubs. This gives us our top pair. It's still dangerous. We're not out of the water. Any ace practically beats us. And so I'm going to check, slow it down, try to maybe go for 2 streets of value. It checks around, and the dealer puts out the 7 of spades on the turn, pairing the board, eliminating our kicker. We now have aces, 7s with a queen kicker. And so now I'm going to bet. I chop with any ace. Any 7 beats me. We get 1 caller when I bet $25, and the river is another 7. We have upgraded our hand even more to a full house. I'm going to put in a value bet here, hoping that he's going to call me with a queen, but no, he just folds away. We're scooping a $151 pot. Finally, things are going our way. With that hand, we built our stack back up to $290. I'm starting to feel a little better. At least I'm not just going downhill more and more. We fold away a few more hands, and I realize my brain is being really funky. Alright guys, my comeback charge is going alright. I got back up to 300, but I cannot concentrate. I cannot focus. I'm just playing games on my phone, which is a terrible idea. I typically never do that, so I'm just stepping away from the table to try to get rid of whatever anxiety or whatever I have right now, and then get back in there. And get back in there I do. I pick up 9 of diamonds, 8 of hearts in the cutoff. I of course have had to post because I stepped away for a few minutes. We get a lot of limpers. I decided to just check as well, and we're going to a flop 6 ways, $18 in the pot, and the dealer puts out the 4 of hearts, 10 of hearts, ace of clubs. This is not a good board for me. I don't have anything. It checks around to me, and I of course check as well. The turn gives us a jack of hearts, which improves our hand a lot of ways. We now have a flush draw, we have a straight draw, and now we have a little bit of playability. The player in seat 5 decides to bet $6, bringing the pot to $24. It's not a strong bet at all. If he had something that he was really interested in playing with, he probably would have bet a little larger. We have another call from the player to my right, and then I decide to make a little bit of a move here. I'm going to raise it up with all my potential, and thinking that my opponents are weak, I put in the bet to $30, bringing the pot to $60. And now I've taken initiative of this pot, raising it up in case I do hit something nice on the river, and increasing my fold equity. The first player who raised folds, and the player to my right decides to make the call. We're going to the river with $84 in the pot, and the dealer puts out the 6 of clubs. This misses us completely, but when my opponent checks to me, I'm not done. I want to win this pot, and so I decide to bet $50, $134 in the pot, and my opponent instantly mucks, showing the ace. We got away with that one, and it feels pretty good. I'm starting to get my mentality back to where it's supposed to be, and hopefully we can continue this charge. Lady Luck blesses us in the next hand with pocket queens in the small blind. I'm going to wait around to see what the action is ahead of me. I'm looking to put it in a 3-bet no matter what, and we got a lot of limpers, so I might not get that opportunity. I might just have to raise it up. Almost the entire table limps. So I have one mission, and that is to get most of these players out of the hand and maybe go heads up, or maybe just take down the pot. I bet $40, which I think is a little too small of a bet, but the under the gun player who limped in all of a sudden instantly goes all in. Not a good sign, especially since I know this player to be a little tight. I think about the hand for a little bit. I have a beautiful pair of pocket queens, but this player did limp under the gun, and I know he's not doing this with any other intention other to trap a player who raises, and then he puts in the 3-bet. This was his strategy from the moment he limped in. It's starting to come together that these queens may not be good, and so I make a decisive move in this session, a move that I think shows that I have recovered from my tilt. I've recovered from the desire to get back the money that I've lost.
Who is that over there? Oh, that's an easy fold.
You fold that.
What do you have?
This has been a friendly table. We've been bantering all day, and he decides to show one ace. He doesn't have to look to see what card it was. He just picks up the top card and shows it. The next hand we get is Queen 10 of spades. We have 2 limpers, the under the gun and the hijack, and when the small blind folds, I decide to raise it to $18. I'm trying to take the pot down now, maybe get heads up. I think I probably have the best hand. The under the gun limper makes the call and the hijack folds away. We're going heads up to the flop with $40 in the pot. I'm out of position, hoping to hit on the flop, and I do. 9 of clubs, queen of clubs, 9 of diamonds on the board. I've hit top pair. There are a lot of draws out there. I decided to check to my opponent to see what he wants to do, and he fires a bet of $20, bringing the pot to $60. Now, I could just make the call here. I also have the option of raising, and I decide that out of the two options I should probably just make the call. I don't want to get out of hand, I don't want to inflate the pot, and I still have a lot of potential to lose the draws. Let's just see what the turn is. It's the jack of spades. Now we have an open-ended straight draw, and this is good if my opponent has something like 10 jack. Now he has middle pair, he still has a straight draw, he probably thinks he's good. I check and he checks behind. We're going to the river, which is the queen of diamonds, giving us the full boat. It's the second nuts behind pocket nines, and I definitely want to be extracting some value. I think about whether I can get $20 or $30 from him, and instead I decide to rip in $90, polarizing my hand, making it look like maybe I have nothing. More than likely though, based off of my reads of other players and obviously this hand, when you make a large river bet, it's usually because you've nutted up in some way and you think that you have now taken control of the pot, and you want to do that last bit of, you know, extracting as much value as you possibly can, knowing that there's only one street left. My opponent thinks about it for a little while and tells me that he's making a terrible call. He does make the call, and I show him the goods. He mucks immediately, and we're scooping another pot. I've recovered almost all of the money I bought in for. I have $464. It's time to turn on beast mode and turn a profit for the session. The next hand I get is pocket sevens. There's one limper, and then the low jack decides to rip it all in for $40. I'm not going to fold here. I don't think the big blind's going to call. He's holding his cards in his hand, and the player that limped in likely is not going to call as well. I may want to raise here to isolate, but I think that's just risking too many chips, and so I decide to make the call. My opponent and I decide to flip it up for the vlog. He has king queen offsuit. The flop doesn't show him any love. We pick up a gutter ball, and the turn is the beautiful 7 of clubs. We now cannot lose. The river seals the deal, and I'm scooping another small pot. This is a good one because it puts me over the $500 that I've invested into this game today. We fold away a few more hands until the dealer pitches us a beauty. We look down at ace king of diamonds in the cutoff. There's $4 in the pot until the middle position player limps. I'm planning on making a bet, but the player to my right beats me to it, putting 7 times the big blinds in $21. This is a big bet I haven't seen him make, and it's a big bet for the table. I decide that I'm just going to make the call, play a little cautiously, disguise the strength of my hand, and see what type of playability I get on the flop. The player in the small blind makes the call 3 ways to the flop with $69 in the pot, and the flop comes out 2 of hearts, 8 of hearts, 2 of diamonds. We have 2 very strong overs, and now a backdoor nut flush draw, although I'm not counting on it with this paired board. The action checks to the original raiser, who decides to bet $40. I'm going to continue. It takes me no time to decide. I have a very strong hand that could potentially be in the lead right now, and the small blind also decides to make the call. It's a little concerning because he could potentially have a 2 in his range, which would mean that I'm really drawing thin. The dealer puts out the turn, which is a beautiful ace of spades. Now I can assume that I'm winning the hand, except for potentially the small blind having a deuce, but chances are this is mine to win. It checks around to me, and when the preflop raiser checks, I think that he probably has something between pocket 10s and pocket kings. This is what I should be trying to target. I could even be targeting an ace, and so I decided to put in a bet. Unfortunately, I think I sized this way incorrectly. I bet $120, which is such a large bet that I'm really only bringing along an ace or a deuce, and maybe like pocket kings, pocket queens, if they really feel like I'm bluffing here. The first one folds away, and he reveals the king of hearts. The villain still in the hand exclaims, well, there goes one of my outs, and flips up his hands like he's realizing that there's nothing to do here but fold. He does make the fold, and we're scooping another pot. I built my stack up to $615 and realized that $500 is what I brought to buy in with. This is my anniversary episode. I've made my comeback. I don't want to get too greedy. I want to leave on a high, and so I rack up my chips and I head to the cage. I'm completely blown away by all of your support throughout this first month. I have a lot more great content coming, so keep an eye out for it. And if you'd like to, smash that like button. This is a special episode for me.
All right, we started with the $200, and then we rebought for $300, which is not a good move. Shame on you, Cato. But it worked out because we cashed out for $614, giving us a profit of $114. I had too much money on the table. $500 is way too much of my own money to have sitting there. If you made it this far and you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscription button. I'm going to be bringing fantastic poker content to you all the time. I'm putting a lot of work into this, and I'm not going to let up anytime soon, but I need your help.